This is the OTB Network.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Horses and Courses. Of course, this week's edition will be highlighted by Breeders' Cup 16, completed at Gulfstream Park this past weekend. We are, however, going to start the day down at Laurel Racetrack, where on Saturday they have co-featured events starting with the Grade 3 Safely Kept Stakes. This is for 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs on the main track for a purse of $100,000. Let's head down to Laurel for Saturday's Safely Kept.
And they're off. Escaping off to a sharp beginning. Carly Billy between horses, Super Duper Miss and Rills right there on the outside trying to run after her. It's another 2 lengths and Godmother's fifth in line, followed by Lily's Affair on the inside, and Slide Along is the trailer, 7 lengths from the front. Heading now past the 4.5 furlong marker, escaping from Carlyville by a half length, Super Duper Miss, and Rills racing up on the outside. Godmother's fifth, 4 lengths from the lead. Lily's Affair is one beaten. That's Slide Along who trails the field, a brisk pace into the far turn, set by Escaping and pushed along by Carlyville on the outside. Rills is third and Super Duper Miss is fourth on the inside. Godmother is fifth, and it's back to Slide Along, and a couple more lengths trailing the field. Lily's Affair coming to the top of the stretch. Carlyville gets ahead in front of Escaping. Rills on the outside. Godmother is right there, going to switch just to the outside for the final 3/16 of a mile. Homeward bound Carlyville, Rills, and here comes Godmother on the outside, and Super Duper Miss rolling up the inside. Coming to the final furlong. Godmother, Super Duper Miss, Rills in between horses, 16 to go, and it's Godmother. Godmother flashing away to win it by 2.5 from Super Duper Miss, and Rills winds up third in Carlyville. 109-1.
Little disappointing was Carlyville shipping down from New York. The winner, Godmother, is a daughter of Unbridled. We'll see another Unbridled later on in the program getting a win on the Breeders' Cup card. Daughter of 3-year-old daughter of Unbridled getting the win here. She is a Maryland-bred owned by Alan Klein, trained by Robin Graham, ridden to victory by Mario Pino, getting the 6 furlongs in 109 flat. Continuing on Saturday's card at Laurel was the Laurel Futurity, a Grade 3 event with a $100,000 purse. This is 2-year-olds going 1 1/8 miles. Let's head back to Laurel now for the Laurel Futurity.
And they're off. Albert Says flashing good early speed, and Fino Vino from the outside gate. 3 Wonders unrecorded, and Shades Creek is on the inside, followed by Trams who settles back there as they move to the first turn. Albert Says is on the lead here. Albert Says showing the way. Unfino Vino now pushed along to the second spot, and Shades Creek is in third. Unrecorded is next, the length and a half, and it's 3 Wonders, followed by Scottish Halo is riding the rail about a half dozen lengths in the lead. Trams second to last, and Grundlefoot is the trailer about 14 lengths off the lead. A race now toward that 6 furlong mark, and it's Albert Says controlling the pace out there. Albert Says just controlling everything, gonna go as slow as he can up the backstretch, and Fino Vino second. Unrecorded is third, Shades Creek is fourth, and now Scottish Halo has been taken off the inside, fourth on the outside. Here's Scottish Halo starting to gain some stride, fourth, about 4.5 to 5 lengths from the lead. Trams is in between horses, 3 Wonders, and Grundlefoot is last, still about 14 lengths in the front. 4.5 furlongs to go. Albert Says from Unfino Vino, still a moderate pace out there, didn't quicken up very much at all. Albert Says leads at a length. Unfino Vino giving chase and trying to gain now. Unrecorded Scottish Halo gets in the stride and starts to gain now. Scottish Halo coming 2 lengths off the lead, takes third. Trams is under some pressure. 3 Wonders not doing enough. Grundlefoot second to last, and Shades Creek has dropped out. Unfino Vino and Albert Says come toward the quarter pole, but Scottish Halo ready to pounce on them on the outside as they turn for home. Unfino Vino, Scottish Halo on the outside, just cruising right on up to take command. Homeward bound now. Scottish Halo wandering just a little bit, but in front of neck. The inside, Unfino Vino's digging down for the challenge. A furlong to go. Scottish Halo a length from Unfino Vino. Then it's back to Trams in third. Scottish Halo driving past the 16th pole to open up in the Laurel Futurity. Scottish Halo under Tommy Turner to score clear cut. Unfino Vino and Grundlefoot, I believe, got up third from Trams. 5 Scottish Halos first. Number 9 Untino Vino second. And a photo. 1:49 and 1 the running time.
Of Jolie's Halo, owned by John Oxley, trained by Paul Rizzo, getting the win here under jockey Tom Turner in a 1 1/8 in 1 minute 49 1/5 seconds. Heading into Sunday's card at Laurel, the featured event, the Salima Stakes, a Grade 3 event for 2-year-old fillies. The purse $100,000, the distance 1 1/8. Let's head back to Laurel now for the call of Sunday's Salima.
And they're off in the Salima. Dawn Princess and Class, the first two out of the gate, and Jostle is right there with some early speed too as they move to the first turn. Case of the Blues followed by High Code racing down inside, and Hawk Affair is last of the bunch into the turn. So it's Dawn Princess out there to make the pace. High Code tugging pretty hard the second spot right off at Dawn Princess. Class is third and Jostle 3 deep right there in fourth, 1.25 lengths from the front. And back to Case of the Blues is 5 lengths from the pacemaker, and Hawk Affair is last, about 8 lengths off the lead. Racing past the 6.5 furlong mark, and Mark Johnston's taking hold of Dawn Princess to try to slow up the pace there. Dawn Princess leads it by 3/4 length. Jostle up there 3 deep, Class in between. High Code rides the rail right there. It's a tight pack. The first 4 separated by 1.5 lengths or 2. It's another 5, Case of the Blues, and trailing the field is Hawk Affair about 9 lengths off the lead. Racing up the backstretch, and it's Dawn Princess still there. Just enough room on the inside for High Code, who sneaks through the second spot. Jostle is third, and Class in between horses in fourth. Case of the Blues second to last, but only 5 lengths from the front, and Hawk Affair is the trailer. Edging into the far turn, Dawn Princess holding a slim lead. Dawn Princess going to try to spurt away again around the far turn. Jostle is keeping pace on the outside and gaining some ground under a ride, and now High Code ridden along, losing some ground to the front runner. Now is another 2 to Class, and Case of the Blues has 1 horse beaten, and that is Hawk Affair, who is way back, coming to the top of the stretch, 1/4 mile to go in the Salima Stakes. Dawn Princess, Jostle under the whip on the outside to try to catch. Dawn Princess set down. Jostle on even terms on the outside. Jostle's got the lead, 3/16 to go from Dawn Princess. They've opened 5 on Case of the Blues. Jostle rolling through the final furlong. Steady drive, opening up just a little bit on Dawn Princess. Running in third is Class. In Case of the Blues, it's Jostle to take the Salima. Jostle clear cut, driving 3 lengths clear. Dawn Princess and Class. Jostle was first, and then a photo. Time 1:52 flat.
Hold on nicely ahead of Class for the place spot. The winner here, Jostle, a 2-year-old filly bred in Kentucky, sired by Brocco. She's owned by Richard C. Porter II and trained by John Service. Ridden to victory by Sean Elliott. The final time for the 1 1/8 distance, 1 minute 52 seconds flat. Next, we're going to be heading to Churchill Downs, where on Saturday the featured event was the Grade 3 Iroquois Stakes. $100,000 added for 2-year-olds going 1 mile on the main track. Let's head to Churchill now for the call of the Iroquois.
They're all in line. Off and running in the Iroquois. It's a good even start. Runaway Jet on the far outside. Mighty flashing early speed. If it's to be, it's up to me. My Poppy Bird is right there. Rocket Cat up to join the fray with Indiana Affair up the inside. They're all right together. 3 farther back to Nature. Up out of the main track they go. Rocket Cat and Joe Johnson opening up. Crossing over now in front of Indiana Affair, who's in tight quarters on the inside. If it's to be, it's up to me. Right there with My Poppy Bird. Runaway Jet moves up strongly. 5 deep to the outside. Mighty just 2.5 lengths off the pace in his stalking spot now, and 2.5 farther back to Nature at the back now. 6 lengths off the leaders. Still well bunched. The quarter not that quick. 23 seconds flat as they move for the turn. Rocket Cat 3/4 in front. If it's to be, it's up to me. Second. My Poppy Bird is third. Runaway Jet is hung wide the entire trip, racing in fourth. Indiana Affair gets shaken up along the inside. Mighty starts to crank it up now behind a wall of horses, and 2 farther back to Nature at the back around the far turn. Rocket Cat head in front. If it's to to be, it's up to me. Second, Runaway Jet third. My Poppy Bird in between horses racing in fourth. Nature will need some racing room. He's bottled up at the moment. Three farther back to the top of the lane. On the inside comes Mighty. They head for home. Rocket Cat cuts the corner, short lead. Mighty trying to squeeze through between horses. If it's to be, it's up to me. My Poppy Bird's on the outside. Final furlong now. If it's to be, it's up to me. A seam for Mighty sent through by St. Julian, and Mighty firing up with a burst of energy, blowing the field away. Mighty winning the Iroquois, going away impressively by 4. If it's to be, it's up to me was second, and Nature ran third. It's up to me, a seam for Mighty sent through by St. Julian, and Mighty firing up with a burst of energy, blowing the field away. Mighty winning the Iroquois, going away impressively by 4. If it's to be, it's up to me was second, and Nature ran third.
Brought back, came down with a nice sharp run in the stretch. If it's to be, it's up to me, running second here after pressing the early pace. Finishing third, making a closing run was Nature. This one was made a bit of a wide move under Craig Perrette, not able to get up any further than the show spot. The winner, Mighty, is a 2-year-old colt by Lord at War, finishing here for his owner, Claiborne Farm, and Adele Dill Schneider, trained by Frank Brothers, completing the 1-mile distance in 1 minute 35 4/5 seconds. Next, we're going to be heading out to the West Coast to Southern California, where Saturday's featured event was the Grade 3 Veitch Handicap, $100,000 added for 3 and up, going the about distance of 6.5 furlongs. Let's head out to Santa Anita for the Veitch Handicap.
All right. They're off. It's How Bad Do You Want It and Kozar to the front. Ruin got away next in third with Tri-Jory in between horses fourth. That rail runner is Cuvée Brute in fifth, followed up by Cahal next in sixth. Saragor seventh on the outside. Young at Heart is then next in eighth, followed up by Ruin, and at the back of the pack it is Quake. Heading on down the hill now with Cuvée Brute just in front of Tri-Jory by 2. Kozar and Riviera battling third and fourth. Then it's a length further back with Saragor in there also in fifth. And How Bad Do You Want It? The blinkers on the far outside. Next runner is Cahal right down at the rail, followed up by Young at Heart, and then a 5 or 6 length gap back to Ruin, and finally it's Quake. As they come to the dirt portion of the course, Tri-Jory and Cuvée Brute continue to battle on the lead. It's a Tri-Jory, a narrow leader. Cuvée Brute Riviera unleashes his run, and Cahal is down on the inside. Kozar, Saragor, How Bad Do You Want It? 6 or 7 fight for the lead, and Riviera and Cahal, Riviera, and How Bad Do You Want It? As they come onto the wire, Cahal and Riviera, Cahal by a head, and no thriller. The steward's inquiry went up right afterwards, and here is the head-on stretch run. Watch the leaders. Cahal with the blue silks, and on the outside of Cahal is Riviera. For this incident through the stretch, Cahal was disqualified from first and placed second, moving Riviera up.
How Bad Do You Want It? Ends up being finishing in the third spot. The DQ, of course, only involved Cahal and Riviera, so no further horses were involved in changing positions here. The winner, Riviera, is a French-bred 5-year-old sired by Chris. He is owned by Edmund Gann and trained by Bobby Frankel. Ridden to victory by Bryce Blanc, covering the about 6.5 furlongs on the turf course in 1:12 4/5 seconds. Next, we're going to be heading to Santa Anita once more for Sunday's Las Palmas Stakes. This is a Grade 2 event, $250,000 added for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares going 1 1/8 on the turf course. Let's head back out to Southern California for the call of Sunday's Las Palmas.
Be up any second. Oh, way to go. Candy Lonely from the inside gate is quickest out the gate and goes straight to the front. Sierra Virgin in the white colours now taking back. In the centre of the track, Racy Clyders running up alongside a Candy Lonely. Isle racing in just behind the leaders. They've been followed by Rebelletta. Cyrillic is back in the 6th spot, 6 off the leaders. Then we come back in behind those two is Rexler, been followed by Sapphire Ring, who's racing third last. Country Garden is back second last, and Kitzer is 12 lengths off these leaders.
They head past these 7/8s, and Candy Lonely on the inside is setting a good pace for this kind of race. Race Cicliado's right there in the second spot. Then another 3 back to Isle de France, comfortable in third. Rebelletta racing along in fourth. They've been followed by Cyrillic, who's fifth, 5 off these leaders. Sierra Virgin in the white blinkers down at the rail. Moving up on Earth's outside is Ferelia, been followed then by Lexa. Lexa is now 6 off the leaders. There's Sapphire Ring up alongside of her. Another 2 lengths back to Country Garden, who's now a good 9 lengths off that leader. And the only one behind Country Garden right now is Kitzer. They have less than a half mile to go, and Candy Lonely takes them into the turn. Rebelletta's getting up at joint second. Racy Clyder's up on the outside of that. In behind them is Isle de France in the white blinkers. Cyrillic now looking for room right there. Cyrillic coming to tackle them. And Sapphire Ring travelling well if she can get through. Sapphire Ring, green cap in behind a wall of horses. Top of the lane, Candy Lonely. Now Sapphire Ring drops down to the rail and comes flying. And Sapphire Ring, Candy Lonely, Rebelletta, Cyrillic on the outside, but Sapphire Ring putting up a tremendous performance today, and Sapphire Ring ultra impressive as she wins the last Palmas. Top of the lane, Candy Lonely. Now Sapphire Ring drops down to the rail and comes flying, and Sapphire Ring, Candy Lonely, Rebelletta, Cyrillic on the outside, but Sapphire Ring putting up a tremendous performance today, and Sapphire Ring ultra impressive as she wins the last Palmas.
From off the pace, Cyrillic, another horse from off the pace at 20-1, holding on for a nose upset into the play spot of Country Garden. Another long shot, early speed in this race. Candy Lonely fell back to the 4th place. The winner, Sapphire Ring, is a 4-year-old filly. She was bred in Great Britain. She's a daughter of Marjou and owned by the Thoroughbred Corp. She's trained by Neil Drysdale. Completes the mile in an 8th distance on the turf course labeled Firm in 1 minute 48.1. We are going to pause for a brief break. When we come back, we'll have the racing action to bring to you from Aqueduct over the weekend, and of course racing from South Florida in Breeders' Cup 16. So please stay with us.
Here is the rundown of this weekend's stakes action. On Saturday from the Big A, fillies and mares 3 and up, running the Grade 2 $150,000 Long Island Handicap. Sunday has 2 divisions of the New York Stallion Series. It's the 5th Avenue division for 2-year-old fillies and the Great White Way for 2-year-old colts and geldings. From Churchill Downs Saturday, it's the Grade 2 $200,000 Churchill Downs Distaff for fillies and mares 3 and up. On Sunday, it's the Grade 3 $150,000 Cardinal Handicap for fillies and mares 3 and up. From Calder on Saturday, it'll be the $100,000 Pete AXTHELM Handicap for 3-year-olds. And on Sunday, 3-year-old fillies running the $100,000 Francis A. Genter. Catch all of the stakes action this weekend at any Capital OTB location.
Welcome back, everyone, to Horses and Courses. Next, we're going to be heading to Aqueduct, where on Tuesday they had a special Election Day card highlighted by the Grade 3 Tempted Stakes. The purse is $100,000. It's for 2-year-old fillies going a mile on the main track. Let's head down to New York now for the call of Tuesday's Tempted Stakes.
And they're off. 2 Market bounces out well and goes for the early lead. A Shawnee Country racing in second. Maddie May is third. Then Valerie's Dream in fourth. And Marigalante will be the early trailer as they race up the chute. 2 Market in front by a length. Maddie May and Shawnee Country right together, second and third, and now they're on the main track. 2 Market in front by a length and a half. The opening quarter went in 23 and 2. Shawnee Country second by a head, and the favorite Maddie May is on the outside in third. Then 2.5 lengths to Marigalante, who's taken over fourth. Valerie's Dream is fifth. It is 2 Market leading the field here by a length and a half. Maddie May now takes second. Shawnee Country on the inside in third. The half mile went in 46 and 1. It is 2 Market leading midway around the far turn by a length and a half. Maddie May second by 2.5. Shawnee Country is back running in third, and Marigalante is fourth and 4.5 lengths from the lead. Farther back is Valerie Stream. They're at the top of the stretch. It is To Market leading after 3/4 in 1:10 and 4. To Market in front. Marigalante in the middle of the track has moved into second as Maddie May drops back. Shawnee Country trying to come back again on the inside. To Market short lead. Marigalante on the outside. Shawnee Country at the rail. Three of them now heads apart. To Market, Shawnee Country, Marigalante, To Market, and on the inside Shawnee Country, and their noses up. Number 4, Shawnee Country was first. Number 6, To Market finished second. Number 2, Marigalante was third. Number 5, Maddie May finished fourth. Results not official. The time was 1 minute 38 and 3/5 seconds.
Country is a 2-year-old dark bay or brown filly by Chief's Crown. She was bred in Kentucky. She is owned by the Overbrook Farm and trained by D. Wayne Lucas. Ridden to victory by Georgie Chavez, completing the mile distance in 1 minute 38 and 3/5 seconds. Next, we're going to head back to Aqueduct, where co-featured on Saturday's card was the Grade 3 Sport Page Handicap. This is a $75,000 added event for 3-year-olds and up, sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track. Let's head down to Aqueduct for the call of the Sport Page Handicap.
And they're off. Puncher on the extreme outside. Power by Far is there. Scatmandu, and now Puncher goes on up to get the lead. Power by Far and Scatmandu right together, second and third, with Safe Florida Sandy and Watchman's Warning. Heads apart, fourth and fifth. Sailor's Warning is down on the rail. Then comes Aristotle, and the early trailer is Bought and Dixie, and Puncher is out there and in front by 3.5 lengths. Power by Far in second in the opening quarter mile. Went in 22 and 4. It's Puncher in front by almost 4 lengths. Power by Far, Sailor's Warning on the rail, and Scatmandu. They're all together. 2 lengths back to Watchman's Warning and Safe Florida Sandy. Aristotle is on the outside, and trailing the field is Bought and Dixie, and now they're midway around the far turn, and it's Puncher who continues to lead here by a length. The half mile, 45 and 3. Scatmandu now taking second. Sailor's Warning down on the fence in between horses is Power by Far, and on the extreme outside it's Aristotle and Bought and Dixie in between. They're in the stretch, and Scatmandu has overtaken Puncher for the lead. Scatmandu is in front. It's Aristotle on the outside, then Power by Far. Scatmandu with the lead. Aristotle on the outside. Scatmandu and Aristotle inside the 16th pole. Scatmandu, Aristotle, they come to the line in the Sport Page, and Scatmandu won it by a head. Aristotle. The unofficial order of finish: number 5, Scatmandu first. Number 7, Aristotle second. Number 4, Watchman's Warning was third, and number 3, Power by Far, finished fourth. The results not official. The time was 1 minute 22 and 3/5 seconds. And again, the unofficial order of finish: numbers 5, 7, 4, and 3.
In here, all but 2 horses had starting problems. It looked like the only ones that were able to start clear were Bought and Dixie, who started rather slowly, and Sailor's Warning, who was able to break ahead of the field. The winner, Scatmandu, is a 4-year-old colt by Stormcat. He was bred in Kentucky. He is owned by Robert Waxman and trained by John Kimmel. Ridden to victory by Aaron Grider, covering the 7 furlong distance in 1 minute 22 and 3/5 seconds. Also on Saturday's stakes racing docket in New York was the First Flight Handicap, a Grade 2 event with a $150,000 purse. 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares going 7 furlongs on the main track. Let's head back to New York now for the call of Saturday's First Flight.
And they're off. Harpio is away well. Stacy Tracy on the outside. Stacy Tracy grabs the early lead. Harpio running second. Anklet is next in third. And then comes Crabgrass in fourth. It's a gap of 2 to Flamingo Way, and on the inside, Country Hideaway. Then 3 more to Casanova Market, who runs in 7th, and Memory Call is 8th. And they move up the backstretch. Stacy Tracy by 3/4 of a length, the first quarter mile in 22 3. Harpia, the favorite, is right behind in second, and Anklet is on the inside in third. Then comes Crabgrass in fourth, just 3 lengths off the lead. Country Hideaway is next in fifth, followed by Flamingo Way, then a gap of 5. Back to Cusano Market, and trailing the field is Memory Call, and the half mile went in 45 4. And now it is Harpia who has taken over. Anklet is on the inside in second, and Crabgrass is third. Country Hideaway still with a chance in fourth. They're in the stretch. It is Harpia who has the lead here. Country Hideaway will now make a run on the outside. Anklet is racing in third. It's Harpia with the lead at the 16th pole. Country Hideaway on the outside. It's Harpia, Country Hideaway. Those two to the finish. Photo finish, too tight to call. Number 2, Country Hideaway was first. Number 5, Harpia finished second. Number 1, Anklet was third. And number 7, Crabgrass finished fourth. The results not official. The time
ran into Silver Bullet Day, came back with an allowance win, and right back into Stakes Company here, getting an off-the-pace win over Harpia, who was the slight favorite. Country Hideaway, second choice in the wagering. Finishing third was Anklet, who ran a one-paced effort, made up a little bit of ground in the stretch, and did weaken in the final furlong. The winner, Country Hideaway, a 3-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Seeking the Gold, bred by the Phipps stable in Kentucky, owned by Ogden Phipps, trained by Shug McGahee, and ridden to victory by Herb Castillo Jr. Country Hideaway completes the 7-furlong distance in 1 minute 23 seconds flat. Completing the stakes racing action from New York this weekend was Sunday's Grade 3 Nashua Stakes. This is a $100,000 purse for 2-year-olds. Going a mile on the main track, let's head back to Aqueduct once more for the call of Sunday's Nashua Stakes.
And they're off. The Chief J Strongbow is out for the early lead. Mass Market on the outside, along with a Golden Brush as they race up the chute. Chief J Strongbow. In between horses is Hades, and on the outside is Golden Brush. Twilight Time racing in fourth. And then in between horses is a County Cat. They continue up the backstretch. It's Chief J Strongbow in front, and Hades is second. And now Windrush is coming on through. Polish Miner down on the rail in fourth. Then on the outside it is Golden Brush racing in fifth. Twilight Time is sixth. Then County Cat, followed by Parade Leader and Mass Market. Just 5 lengths from first to last, the opening quarter in 23 1, and it is a long shot Chief J Strongbow leading after a half mile in 46 3. Hades is second, and down on the rail is Polish Miner in third. The outside, Golden Brush, and farther out is Twilight Time, and now Mass Market is coming on. Chief J Strongbow has been passed now by Mass Market on the extreme outside, and Mass Market takes the lead at the top of the stretch. It's Mass Market in front. 3/4 went in 1:12 3. Mass Market opening up here. It's Mass Market in front by 3.5 lengths. Parade Leader has taken over second. Then down on the inside, it's Polish Miner with Chief J Strongbow. It's Mass Market leading past the 16th pole by 5. Mass Market to win the Nashua. It's close for second between Parade Leader and the late closing Polish Miner.
Looks like another nice versatile colt from his family. Of course, he's a brother of Parade Ground, a very nice 4-year-old this year on the turf. The winner, Mass Market, a 2-year-old chestnut son of Marketry. We saw 2 Market in the Tempted Stakes running very well. Another good performance by a Marketry youngster. This one was bred in Kentucky and is owned by the New Farm, trained by Ben Perkins. Getting the win here for Mike Smith in a final time of 1 minute 38 3/5 seconds. We are going to pause now for our second break, and when we return, we will have for you the highlight of the day's events. Saturday's 16th running of the Breeders' Cup, so please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Mark Cusano. Join Mike Veitch and me Saturday morning at our regular time of 10 for the post-Breeders' Cup edition of Down the Stretch. On this week's show, Michael and I will recap and rehash Breeders' Cup 16. Did Barron's clinch Horse of the Year by winning the Classic? Which Daylami showed up for the $2 million turf? Did Silver Bullet Day become the first horse in Breeders' Cup history to win 2 different Cup events? We'll also look at highly contentious renewals of the Mile and the filly and mare turf. Then it was East versus West in the juvenile events as the undefeated Chaluki took on Darling My Darling and Surfside in the juvenile fillies, and Forest Camp and Dixie Union faced off against Chief Seattle and High Yield in the juvenile. Mr. Veitch and I will recap all of those events. Then we'll open up the telephone lines to get your opinions on Breeders' Cup 16. So all of that and more if you join Mike Veitch and me Saturday morning at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the Off Track Betting Communications Network.
Welcome back, everyone, to Horses and Courses. And now what everybody has been waiting to see, the Breeders' Cup from Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Getting things kicked off was the $2 million Breeders' Cup Distaff, of course, Grade 1 event. 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares going a mile and an eighth on the main track. Let's head down to Gulfstream Park and kick off Breeders' Cup 16 with the Breeders' Cup Distaff.
And they're off in the Distaff. Heritage of Gold is off to a good start. Beautiful Pleasure too, and Beautiful Pleasure using her tactical speed right up on the lead. And Keeper Hill right there in between those two. Silver Bullet Day has come up with the leaders, and the massive filly Manistique will be taken wide as they go into the clubhouse turn. Then it's Banshee Breeze. Tap to Music is near the back of the pack in the early going, and the French filly Louvre Mysterieuse trails the field. Beautiful Pleasure has company on the lead in Heritage of Gold. Beautiful Pleasure now taking command as they make their way into the backstretch. First quarter, 22-4. A sensational opening quarter here. Beautiful Pleasure has the lead, but she had to run hard to get there. And she leads by 2 lengths down the backstretch. Keeper Hill and Heritage of Gold running 2nd and 3rd. Silver Bullet Day, and Bailey has some running room on the inside now and moves into 4th position. Just in behind her, it's Banshee Breeze. Manistique continues on the outside, followed by Tap to Music. 5 lengths back to a laboring Louvre Mysterieuse. The half mile in a grueling 46 2/5 seconds. Beautiful Pleasure trying to do it all the way on the lead. She is still running unopposed with 3.5 furlongs to go here, leading by 4. Silver Bullet Day is full out and driving 2nd. Heritage of Gold is 3rd. And Banshee Breeze has asked for her run, but she still has a lot to do. 5 lengths behind. Beautiful Pleasure, who turns for home with the lead, and the field is closing in. Heritage of Gold with an upset chance. Silver Bullet Day. Banshee Breeze has running room on the inside. Farther back, Keeper Hill is 4th. Less than a furlong to go. Beautiful Pleasure trying to gut it out for 100 more yards. Here comes Banshee Breeze, and she's flying, coming to the finish. Beautiful Pleasure saved by the wire. And Pleasure holds off Banshee Breeze, who has to settle for 2nd in the Distaff for the 2nd consecutive year. On the outside, Beautiful Pleasure. Chavez just now giving her a look at that whip as he celebrates victory.
Getting a nice front running effort here. She did have to challenge hard early. She was pressed a little bit early by the likes of Heritage of Gold. Even Keeper Hill, usually a closer, was up there fairly early on, giving her some pressure, but she was able to open up a comfortable lead and hold on for a 3/4 of a length advantage over Banshee Breeze, with Pat Day coming up the inside. Heritage of Gold, who showed very good speed at 34-1, able to hold on for the show spot here. Very exciting way to kick off the Breeders' Cup Day with this win. 4-year-old filly daughter of Maudlin. She was bred in Florida. Very impressive winner here. This 4-year-old daughter of Maudlin, owned by John Oxley, trained by John T. Ward, ridden to victory by Georgie Chavez, completing the 1.1 mile distance in 1 minute 47 2/5 seconds. Next, we're going to stick with Breeders' Cup action with the juvenile fillies, $1 million. 2-year-old fillies going 1.16 miles on the main track. Let's head back to Florida now for the Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies.
And they're off. Chaluki breaks in stride. Talkback has speed. Cash Run third toward the inside. Surfside and Darling My Darling all up close to the lead. Just in behind them, it is Spain, followed by Longshot Asher, then Warrior Queen. Scratch Pad to be the early trailer. And Surfside got hung up 5 wide going into the clubhouse turn. Cash Run benefited from the inside post and rides the rails to the lead through an opening quarter with the wind at their backs in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Talkback right up on this hot pace, and Chaluki chasing the hot pace as well. It's 2 lengths back to Darling My Darling, who's in the clear, and on the outside she's running in 4th. Spain moves up into 5th position now. And then it's Warrior Queen between horses 6th. Asher is 7th. Surfside has 1 horse beaten, and that is Scratch Pad. The leader is Cash Run, and Cash Run opens up by 3. The half in 45 and 4. Excruciating opening half mile for Cash Run, who takes the field into the far turn. There goes Chaluki. With 3 furlongs to go, it's Chaluki who takes the lead. Cash Run second. The Canadian filly Talkback is right there. Spain is just in behind the lead. Darling My Darling is laboring. Surfside still has 8 lengths to make up as the field turns for home. Cash Run bracing for the challenge of Chaluki. Chaluki and Cash Run. Cash Run is determined. Chaluki is full out. Those 2 fillies giving their all with 1 furlong to go. Spain is 3rd. Surfside is 4th. Down to the final 16th. A bitter struggle here. Cash Run with unwavering determination turns back Chaluki. Surfside too late. Cash Run wins. Cash Run has done it. Another wire-to-wire victory.
As anticipated, but not with the horses we anticipated. Chaluki, yes, but not Surfside, but Cash Run that represents Lucas. A $1.2 million yearling paying a big dividend here at Gulfstream Park with a victory under Jerry Bailey in the juvenile fillies.
Here in the wagering, the winner, Cash Run, at 32.5 to 1. This is a filly who broke her maiden very impressively in New York early in the season, was taken out of training with an really unannounced injury or illness, was never really clear what was wrong with her, came back with a couple of disappointing efforts, certainly was able to run back to that impressive maiden win this Saturday at the time when it really counted in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Just a great, impressive performance. Wayne Lucas getting his day off to a very good start here. Cash Run is a daughter of Seeking the Gold. She is from the mare Shared Interest, making her a half-sister to Forestry, who we'll see in a couple of minutes later on the card in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. She was bred in Kentucky. She is owned by Padua Stables and trained, as I mentioned, by D. Wayne Lucas. Ridden to victory by Jerry Bailey, completing the mile in the 16th distance in 1 minute 43 and 1. Next on the Breeders' Cup docket, the mile. 1 mile event, 3-year-olds and up, going for $1 million on the turf course. Let's head back down to South Florida for the call of the Breeders' Cup Mile.
And they're off. Left to hand, off a beat slowly. Delay of game gets off to a good start. Kirkwall is there, so too Jim and Tonic. Quiet Resolve, Garbu, and toward the outside is Brave Act as they race for the clubhouse turn. It's delay of game. Garbu's going to get hung up 4 wide into the turn. Right there in between horses, it's Quiet Resolve. Brave Act 3 wide into the turn on the outside, 4th. Jim and Tonic gets a coveted spot inside, down toward the rail in 5th position. Lend a hand off a beat slowly. He's 6th on the outside. Kirkwall rating back in 7th position. And then it's Middlesex Drive. Not much speed for him today. He's in traffic now. Middlesex Drive under a hard hold there by Shane Sellers. Kumbamella also under stop restraint about 9 lengths from the lead. Now followed by Silic, who's in the clear. Then Toothless near the back of the pack along with Docksider. Hawksley Hill and Susu, the 2 trailers. Hawksley Hill, the favorite, is last after the first 4 furlongs in 47 seconds flat. The field moving into the far turn. And it is Garbu with a narrow lead over Brave Act. Garbu holding on a short lead. Brave Act. Here comes Lend a Hand. And Lend a Hand is cruising up to the lead. And Silic is sweeping 4 wide as they approach the top of the stretch. Docksider is following his move. Kirkwall is just in behind the leaders. And then it's delay of game. Middlesex Drive toward the inside. Toosler charging down the center of the track. Wide open. Lend a Hand short lead. Silic on the outside. Lend a Hand holding on. Lend a Hand fully extended to hold out Silic. Here comes Toosler flying as they come to the finish. And Docksider's closing in 2 on the wire. Silic gets it for the stakes. Silic
Corey Nakatani. Look at him just pushing him away here. You'll see Tuzla, the mare, come flying on the extreme outside. Right here, it looks like it's coming down to lend a hand in the blue colors and Silic. Corey Nakatani urging that last little bit out of Silic. And then look at Tuzla and Docksider come like express trains, and Hawksley Hill there in the 5th spot. But
Contentious position, making the wide move on the turn and able to hold off the late charging Tuzla by a neck. Tuzla and Docksider, you saw running at the leader. They were a nose apart for the place and show spot. Early pace setters had an awful time here. Garbu ending up fading quite badly. Delay of Game, who chased early, faded into 7th. Not the type of running surface that seemed to be favoring those front-running horses. Horses down on the inside seemed to have a little bit of trouble. Middlesex Drive never seemed to be able to get himself any kind of running room at all. Kirkwall also saving ground, not able to really get into any kind of high gear in a high traffic circumstance with 14 horses. The winner, Silic, is a bay colt, 4 years old, bred in France. He's sired by Sillery and owned by Terence Lanny, Bernard Chapa, and Kenneth Pulaski. He is trained by Julio Canani, ridden to victory by Corey Nakatani, completing the mile distance on the turf course, labeled good in 1 minute 34 and 1/5 seconds. Continuing with Breeders' Cup action, the Breeders' Cup Sprint, $1 million, 6 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up. Let's head down to Florida now for the call of the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Ready for the start. And they're off. Lexicon breaks in stride from his outside post. Here comes the filly. Enjoy the Moment streaking toward the lead, and Forestry is right there. So too Successful Appeal and Europe Stravinsky. And Artax up with the leaders now, moving down the backstretch. Enjoy the Moment flaunting her speed, but Artax is coming to take her on right from the beginning. Successful Appeal is 3rd. Stravinsky sprints up on the inside 4th. Forestry is now running in 5th. And then it's Kona Gold 6 toward the inside. Vicker makes his way through. Between horses now 7th. The First Success is racing in 8th. And then it's Son of a Pistol 9th by 3. Lexicon is 10th, followed by Big Jag 11th. Good and Tough is running in 12th. And farther back it's Regal Thunder and Furlow, the last of them all. First quarter went in 22 seconds flat. They're coming to the top of the stretch, and Artax has come away with the lead. It is Artax who turns for home. Stravinsky is right there. Stravinsky on the outside. Kona Gold is coming up the fence. Successful Appeal and Forestry fighting hard down the center track. Big Jag still 7 lengths behind and Good and Tough. 1:16 from the finish line. It is Artax in front. Here comes Kona Gold with the final surge as they come down to the line. Here's the wire. Artax has done it. Artax the winner by a head.
In 1:07 and 4 holds off Kona Gold. Artax under the left-hand whip from George Chavez, giving the Paranex stable a victory in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
She didn't last very long. She ends up fading into last place, but Artax challenging early, getting to the lead and holding off all comers. It was Kona Gold making the big move to within a half length of the winner, with Big Jag making a huge off-the-pace move at 10-1 into the 3rd spot. The winner, Artax, a dark Bayer Brown, almost black colt by marquetry. He was bred in Kentucky and owned by the Paranex stable, trained by Lou Albertrani, getting the victory here under Georgie Chavez and completing the 6 furlongs in 1:07 and 4, and that time does tie the track record set by Mr. Prospector. So obviously a very impressive performance by Artax. Continuing Breeders' Cup action, the Filly and Mare Turf. This is the first running of the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, $1 million event with 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares going 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf course. Let's head back down to Florida now for the first running of the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf.
And they're off. And Gandria is the first away from the gate. And then toward the outside, inside, and farthest out Anguilla. Cafe Latte is up close to the early pace. Perfect Sting is right there. Pleasant Temper, normally in front, is well behind. Caught in traffic early, Pleasant Temper. Gandria, the Canadian, will be the early leader here with Anguilla to offer mild pressure through the opening furlongs. Inside, down inside, saving ground in 3rd position. And it's Perfect Sting racing in fourth. Coretta 3 wide around the first turn, fifth. Cafe Latte has settled nicely about 5 lengths from front running Gandria. Cafe Latte in sixth position. Zomarada is seventh, Soaring Softly on the outside, eighth. Natalie 2 is now ninth. And then it's Louvre racing in 10th position, followed by Spanish Fern. Pleasant Tempers near the back of the pack. Borgia and Mossflower complete the field. The opening quarter went in 25 seconds flat, and a fairly comfortable opening half mile here of 49 1/5 seconds. And now the field moves into the clubhouse turn. Gandria and Anguilla still running 1-2. Insight with that coveted spot in behind the lead and saving ground. Still racing in third position. Coretta to her outside is racing in fourth. Perfect Sting is fifth, unhurried 6 lengths from the lead. Zomarada running in seventh position. Cafe Latte now gets a nudge and has now dropped back 8 lengths from the lead. Soaring Softly is now running in ninth position, followed by Natalie 2. Then Louvre. Spanish Fern is launching a bit outside horses as the field runs down the backstretch now for furlongs to go, and it is now Anguilla in front. Anguilla the leader as the field moves into the far turn. Coretta kicks in. Coretta with a decisive move to challenge for the lead as the field moves into the far turn. Soaring Softly is picking off horses one by one. She is rocketing on the far outside. Zomarada moves into contention. She's now third. Soaring Softly has moved up in the pack. She's now only 2 lengths from the lead. Racing fourth. Cafe Latte splitting horses fifth. Spanish Fern sixth on the outside. Then Low. Perfect Sting buried at the rail, and the field hits the top of the stretch. Coretta kicks in, driving on the lead. Zomarada full out second. Soaring Softly flying down the center of the track, and Cafe Latte down toward the rail. She'll need some running room in there, opening there. Here's Coretta, here's Soaring Softly, and Soaring Softly is the winner. Soaring Softly, the queen of the American Green. A 4-way pole for second among...
Misfortune earlier this year to lose some horses in a barn fire, to be diagnosed with skin cancer, and how important to his recovery had been this mare, Soaring Softly. Well, here's the ultimate tonic as Soaring Softly, under the urging of Jerry Bailey, hits the front here. The wire comes up, and she is the filly and mare turf champion.
From post position 12, he's able to settle her down, get her to the best part of the racetrack, get her a clean trip, and draw off to a 3/4 of a length win over a very game Coretta. Coretta breaking from post 14 could have been considered that she had lost all chance when the draw was made. Post position 14, a rough spot to be with a short run into the first turn, but Coretta getting a masterful ride from just off the pace by Jose Santos. In the third spot, Zomarada, a filly who had run competitively in 4 or 5 different countries throughout the world, making a big move into the third spot here, not quite enough. Also finishing very well, Cafe Latte and Borgia. Borgia, of course, a German-bred filly who had done so well running against males, was unfortunately stuck down at perhaps the worst part of the racetrack in the stretch, coming down all the way down on the hedge, not able to make up quite enough ground. The winner, Soaring Softly, is a 4-year-old chestnut filly sired by Chris S. She was bred in Kentucky. She is owned by the Phillips Racing Partnership and trained by Jimmy Toner, who fortunately is having a bit of a resurgence this year after having some very serious tragedy occur in his barn earlier this year. His barn was devastated by fire. He lost a couple of horses. Of course, lost memories of Silver, a top turf filly at the end of last year, now coming back with another very nice filly on the grass and Soaring Softly. Soaring Softly, ridden to victory by Jerry Bailey, completes the 1 3/8 distance in 2:13 4/5 seconds. Next on the docket, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. This is a $1 million event for 2-year-old colts and geldings going 1 1/16 on the main track. Let's head back down to Florida now for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Of the Juvenile. And they're off. Anise was off. Upbeat slowly. Chief Seattle breaks well from his rail post. Captain Steve is there. There goes Forest Camp and Personal First. Millencolin up with the leaders as they race for the first turn. And it's Forest Camp 3 wide into the turn. Personal First driving hard to get to that early lead. It's Personal First in front and now sprinting early to open up a 2-length lead on Forest Camp, who runs in second. Chief Seattle down inside races in third. Captain Steve is fourth and Millencolin fifth in between horses. Then it's High Yield who rides the rails in 6th position. Hugh Hugh Hefner 3 wide around the first turn. He's moving up from 7th. Cusano asked for a bit more run. He's 8th and in between horses now. Then Graham Hall, who's together with Dixie Union. Those two about 8 lengths from the lead. Brahms was very wide going into the first turn. Now running 11th on the outside. Then Mull of Kintyre, followed by Charlie's Bow. Late starting Anise is the last of them all. A testing opening half mile, 46 seconds flat. Forest Camp has taken over the lead, and Forest Camp takes the field into the far turn, pulling away. And he's pulling away impressively. Forest Camp by 2.5 lengths now. Chief Seattle to the attack. Now running second. Personal first, the early leader has dropped back to third. High Yield is gathering momentum from fourth. Mull of Kintyre is also rallying, moving into fifth. Then farther back it's Cusano, Dixie Union on the outside, and Anita, who's about 8 lengths behind as the field turns for home. And here comes High Yield roaring up the outside along with Chief Seattle. Forest Camp grudgingly gives way third. Mull of Kintyre is fourth, and Anise is rocketing down the center of the track. Here comes Anise, and he's going to blow by them all. He passed 13 horses to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Anise, the last, the first winner by 3 going away. Chief Seattle is second.
About next year, and the Triple Crown with Anise, the fast closing son of Unbridled. He came storming from out of the clouds to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. 7th victory on Breeders' Cup Day for Gary Stevens. Anise got the money.
From last to first with a 2.5 length win at 30-1 over Chief Seattle. One of the favorite horses in the wagering, with High Yield looking very impressive, looming large at the top of the stretch, but not able to gain a better position than the show spot. Anise, a very impressive winner with a cagey ride by Gary Stevens, also demonstrating why he is one of the top riders in the world. Anise is a 2-year-old colt sired by Unbridled from an Aladar mare, so he is certainly a horse that you have to keep your eye on when the distances start to stretch out. He was bred in Kentucky. He's owned by the Thoroughbred Corporation and trained by Alex Hassinger, ridden to victory by Gary Stevens, completing the mile in a 16th distance in 1 minute 42 and 1/5 seconds. Next on the docket, the Breeders' Cup Turf, a 1.5 mile event with a $2 million purse. This is 3-year-olds and up, going a 1.5 miles over the turf course. Let's head down to Florida now for the Breeders' Cup Turf.
And they're off. Thornfield and Unites Big Red, break alertly, Val's Prince, and there goes Buck's Boy, and Buck's Boy is gunned to the lead by Garrett Gomez. They are up to take the lead, and a headstrong Courteous, eager to go early, now running in second. Val's Prince is third. Royal Anthem down inside is now fourth. Faris, 5th on the outside. Bonapartiste runs 6th in the early furlongs. Honor Glide racing in between horses, now running in 7th. Thornfield 5 wide 8th. Delamy has a spot at the inside 9th. Then Unites Big Red is 10th, followed by Yagli Dark Moon Dancer, First Magnitude, and the early trailer is Dreamwell, as Buck's Boy, the defending champion, will take the field through the early furlongs. And he comes wide off that turn. Buck's Boy wide off the turn, and a sharp first quarter there considering the distance, a 23-2 first quarter. Buck's Boy in 10th on the lead, and he is running right along. And Courteous is in close pursuit of this hot pace. Long striding Royal Anthem, trying to get comfortable here with 1 lap to go, 7 furlongs left. And then it's Val's Prince running in 4th, a hot pace here, 47 seconds flat for the opening half mile. Delamy is racing 5th, and he's enjoyed a perfect trip so far, hugging the hedge and saving ground the whole way. Faris 3 wide, he's racing in 6th, followed by Bonapartiste, Yagli down inside. Honor Glide is still unhurried, about 9 lengths from the front, followed by Dreamwell, who's now made some progress. And then it's Dark Moon Dancer, Unites Big Red on the far outside, 4 lengths back to Thornfield, and First Magnitude is the last of them all. They've run 3 quarters in a testing and grueling 1:10-3. Buck's Boy has been setting a tremendous pace here, 4 furlongs to go. He's still the leader by almost 2 lengths. Courteous now asks for more run second. Royal Anthem is ready to roll, and he's been taken to the outside for clear running. And Delamy now has daylight. He's threaded his way through. He's 4th and in between horses. Yagli down inside racing 5th. Faris is under a drive running in 6th. And then it's Bonapartiste. Dreamwell to the outside, followed by Honor Glide. They're coming to the top of the stretch. It is still Buck's Boy. He has led throughout. But on the far outside, Delamy is sweeping wide, and Royal Anthem is in between those two. They are set down for the drive. Bucks Boy defending a championship, and he is a tenacious champion. Here comes DeLamy, unleashing an explosive rally, and Royal Anthem lengthening his stride, but DeLamy runs by them all, and DeLamy will win it going away. DeLamy by 3 on the wire. Royal Anthem is second.
Defending a championship, and he is a tenacious champion. Here comes DeLamy, unleashing an explosive rally, and Royal Anthem lengthening his stride, but DeLamy runs by them all, and DeLamy will win it going away. DeLamy by 3 on the wire. Royal Anthem is second. Bucks Boy finishes third. Wow, what an animal. DeLamy sitting in mid-pack, and he cut loose in the final 2 furlongs here for an impressive victory in 2 minutes 24 and 3/5 seconds.
Explodes past that rival in the stretch. Royal Anthem did hold on for the second spot with early pace setter, last year's winner, Bucks Boy, under Garrett Gomez, holding on nicely for the third spot. Bucks Boy, of course, coming into this race with only 3. This was only his 3rd start of the season, so not a bad effort at all for Bucks Boy in this race, but DeLamy certainly a very impressive winner on the card here. DeLamy, this was scheduled to be his last race. There is a possibility that he may continue to race one more time in the Japan Cup. It has not been determined yet, but he is currently the leader in the Emirates Racing Series, and certainly a win at the Japan Cup would lock it right up for him. The win in the Emirates World Series Racing, World Racing Series, the first year that it has been in the running. The winner, DeLamy, is a 5-year-old Irish bred, sired by Dayoun. He is owned by the Godolphin Racing Incorporated, trained by Saeed bin Surur, getting the victory here under Lanfranco Dettori, a very excited Lanfranco Dettori, completing the 1.5 miles over the turf course labeled good in 2 minutes, 24 and 3/5 seconds. Of course, last race on the Breeders' Cup card, the $4 million Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Classic. 3-year-olds and up going the American Classic distance of 1.25 miles on the main track. Let's head back down to South Florida once more for the call of Saturday's Breeders' Cup Classic.
And they're off. Gets off to a good start. Old Trieste is flashing his early speed. Cat Thief is there running in mid-pack. River Keen also has some early speed as well. Supreme Sound on the far outside. The Classic field moves by us for the first time. It is Cat Thief, Old Trieste, Bud Royale in between those two. Muktawakel, Supreme Sound on the outside. River Keen is running in 6th position. Golden Missile is now 7th. Evidence Vision Averse to his outside 8th, and Barons is 9th and in hand in the early stages. Lemon Drop Kid is 10th and on the far outside. Ecton Park is next, followed by Long Leg General Challenge, who is maintaining position on the outside of horses through the early furlongs. Catienis is next, and Chester House is far behind. The first quarter in a sharp 23 seconds flat, and it is Old Trieste with his usual front-running gambit, the leader taking the field down the backstretch. It is Old Trieste opening up now from Cat Thief by 2.5 lengths. He's running a very ambitious race here. The half in 45 and 3/5 seconds. Bud Royale in close contact to this sharp pace. Al-Mutawakel 4th toward the inside. Golden Missile is racing in 5th. Then it's River Keen, who moves through on the inside of Supreme Sound, is now running in 7th. Jorge Chavez is asking Barons for his run at the half-mile pole. He is 10 lengths behind now. Vision Averse, Lemon Drop Kid, a General Challenge on the outside. Around the far turn, Cat Thief now to the neck of Old Trieste. Bud Royale, Golden Missile in with a huge upset chance on the outside. Al-Mutawakel, Lemon Drop Kid made a big move on the turn, and he is only 5 lengths from the lead. River Keen is dropping back, and Barons is laboring in the air at the top of the stretch here. Bud Royale fighting on Gately. Golden Missile on the outside. Cat Thief clawing his way to the lead. Cat Thief, Golden Missile, Bud Royale on hot. It's Cat Thief in front. Cat Thief coming down to the line, and Cat Thief has won it by 1 length over Bud Royale and Golden Missile.
Here is Cat Thief, Bud Royale between them. Golden Missile on the outside, right here wide open. In the pink colors there, Bud Royale. He might not have the class of these guys, but that is one of the toughest horses I've ever seen. Look at those ears. He's pinned back and coming back with all his heart. But right at the end here, Cat Thief, D. Wayne Lucas is training, Pat Day's riding. Just a little too good for Bud Royale. And what a run from Golden Missile. Looked like we could have.
You're finishing in the 3rd spot One of the true surprises on the day at 75-1, Golden Missile. This was a horse that had had some trouble against lower level horses, but ran the race of his life to run third, looming large with a big move on the stretch. Looked for a moment there like he was going to run past all of them in the drive, finishing in the 4th spot here and completing a huge superfecta of almost $700,000. Chester House making his American debut, a pretty good one here, coming from way off the pace, running from last into the 4th spot with Corey Nakatani aboard. Very disappointing performances from a number of other horses, including Barons, who went off as the favorite, had a nice inside covered up trip, but really showed no early speed, went into the first turn in 10th place, running well behind the pace. Normally Barons much closer to the pace than that. Big upset in the Breeders' Cup Classic with Cat Thief on top. Cat Thief, a 3-year-old chestnut colt, a son of Stormcat from the Aladar mare Train Robbery, was bred in Kentucky. He's owned by the Overbrook Farm, trained by D. Wayne Lucas, ridden to victory by Pat Day, completing the distance of 1.25 miles in a very solid 1 minute 59 and 2/5 seconds. That concludes our recap of stakes racing action from this past weekend. We're happy to have been able to bring you all of these exciting races, of course, highlighted by the Breeders' Cup. We'd like to thank everyone for watching. I'm Jean Wood, and I'll see everyone back here next week.